Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Brano, and today I'm gonna share with you my story with English, starting from zero and going all the way up to fluency. Alright, so I started my English journey back in 2018, and that was nice, because my dad he has always told me how much English would be important for me. So when I started, I was very into it, and I remember I used to go to the school, do the homework, and study a lot, but it wasn't enough, and after 1 month doing this routine, some friends of mine, they came to me and they went, oh Breno, if you really want English, if you really want to speak well, it's important that you study every day. And then I started studying every day. It started with 1 hour, and then I went to 2 hours, and before I know it, I was studying like 3 hours a day. Yeah, but that time I had time because I was in high school, so for me it was okay. And yes, it was that. I nowadays it's for me. I think that's too much. We don't need to study like several hours a day to have a very nice level of fluency. Okay, so but we sure need to study a bit of every day. Maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes can make all the difference. I used to have a teacher that used to say, that he could do many things in 5 minutes. And one of the things that he could do is answer three questions in a test. Yeah, it's kind of believable, but according to him, he could do this. And 5 minutes is enough, but you may be wondering, how am I going to study 5 minutes? Maybe listen to something. You can listen, you can speak a bit of with yourself, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking during this conversation today. Sometimes when we study a second language, we studied the wrong way, and maybe if you don't have the correct instruction, the correct teachers, or if you don't look for that information, you may be spending like several years, a bunch of your time, pursuing something that's gonna take you nowhere, so what does it work? What did it really work for me as a learner? Well, one of the things that changed my life was to study English in different ways, with music. Music's really good, but you cannot just listen to the song. You know, I thought I was gonna stop this, but I'm not gonna edit. I'm gonna say what comes to mind, what really helped. So music, it's very nice, the songs, they're really nice, but you cannot just listen. That's a big mistake that people make. You have to sing, you not have to be active. And sometimes many of us will say, oh, but I don't have the talent to sing, and I cannot sing in my native language, let alone English. But actually you can, but you need to start small. You cannot think, oh, I'm gonna sing the whole song today. No, practice. I always tell my students, start with the chorus, because the chorus usually it's easier, so I think it's a good, first you listen, and then you can try to read. If you don't know the pronunciation, you can look it up. Nowadays we have lots of places where you can look up the pronunciation. You can go to Google Translator, or you can just go to a dictionary like Cambridge Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary or Collins dictionaries that are all free on the internet, and many of them will provide you with the British and the American pronunciation. So you have the chance to learn both, So you can learn the pronunciation, then read, and then you can try to sing. You can play the song many times and try to repeat after the singer. So it's very nice. And of course it's interesting that you study the vocabulary of the song. study, that's active study. You need to study, you can try to translate, yeah. And then you can try to create sentences with these words. It's very interesting, it's a very good. So be active, this is a very, how can I put it, keep these words with you. Be active toward your learning. Don't don't expect to learn the language like very naturally, because we can learn the language naturally, but we already have a language in our mind. In my case, my native language is Portuguese, so we already have this language, you know, and so we need to use certain methods to learn. We cannot just uh, listen and think we're gonna learn. We need to listen. We need to create the sentences, because when you create the sentences, you are memorizing the structures. It's very nice. You're memorizing the words, so it's a good exercise. Don't just listen. Sing, create sentences, study the words. Another thing that I like is to listen to podcasts or watch videos, with subtitles in English. Okay, don't forget, you're not studying Portuguese or Spanish or Japanese, so you're not gonna put subtitles in those languages. You're gonna put subtitles in English, but you're gonna say maybe, oh, but if I put subtitles in English, I'm just a beginner or intermediate. I don't fully understand what they're saying. But you are, when you put the subtitles, you can see the words and you can associate the words with the sounds, and then you're going to be working on your listening. It may not seem effective, but it's gonna be, because day by day your listening is gonna get better and better, because you're gonna see the words, you're gonna see the connections, the contractions that happen. So this is good, my friend. Don't forget that, okay? um so do this, keep listening with the subtitles. You can do that more times. Oh, motorcycle passing by. I didn't plan that. So you can do this, with the subtitles. You can watch like the same content more than one time, maybe 2 or 3 times. It's very nice when you do this. I used to do like this. First, I would watch just with the subtitle. Then I would watch again and repeat what they were saying. It's an excellent exercise, because when you repeat, you are learning the pronunciation. This is a technique called shadowing. If you look around on YouTube, or if you ask people, many people will talk about this. This is one of the techniques that many learners, English learners, they use to improve their speaking skills and sound more naturally. Some people will say, oh, it's not very effective, because when you are repeating with the speaker, you're not actually paying attention to the details. I think it's hard to pay attention to the details, but it's an excellent exercise that can help you change your, improve your pronunciation. So yeah, you should go for it. And okay, you can do more exercises, but this is one very interesting. Another one that you can do to force you to pay attention to the details is the dictation practice. What is that? Dictation practice is when you choose a video or a podcast in English and you watch it without any subtitles, you know, and you watch one time and then you watch again and you try to write what you hear. This is excellent. You try to write what you hear, and then if you have a transcript, you can compare what you wrote with the transcript, and that way you are forcing yourself to improve your listening, because you are paying attention to the details. And again, maybe you're not gonna see any difference in one day, but if you do it for 1 week, for 1 month, you'll see the difference. You'll see that your listening will improve. So these are things that I have done throughout my journey as a learner. I have, like I said, done this, and those things, when I combine these things one with the other, I have learned so much, so much. It really changes my life. And another thing that I want to share, I think this is gonna be the last one for this video, and maybe I'll share more videos with you later if you like. Um, Speak with yourself. Don't give me that excuse. Oh, I don't speak English because I don't have anyone to talk with. Okay, my friend, let me tell you something. You see the way I'm speaking English? What do you think of it? I mean, you think it's a good English? Or you think it's a bad English? If you think it's a good English, so trust me, that was how I learned English. Back in the day, I didn't have anyone to practice with. At least I used to think I didn't have anyone. Yeah, because there was internet, I could be looking for someone, but I didn't have friends who spoke English. So I learned by myself. I learned by myself, speaking by myself. And that's something that I heard from other people. That was a piece of advice that I heard from other people who speak English well. Speaking with ourselves can help a lot because it helps us build confidence. And we can practice, we don't need anyone, so we can do that every time we want. So you can just pretend you're talking with someone and ask questions and answer them, and then you're gonna improve. You can start simple, talking about your hobbies, talking about plans for the weekend, and then you can just go into more deep conversations, like talking about maybe um, about things that you like anxiety, or I don't know, more deep politics. So start simple and then move on to more complicated topics, but do it with yourself and then do with other people, but do it. Don't just be passive, be active towards your learning. So guys, that's, I think we can call it a day. I think that was what I had to share with you. Please let me know here in the comments if you like this video, if you would like to see more content with that, like that, because if so, I can make more videos. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up and just hit me up if you have any questions. See you around.